Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Purgatory, brought to you by Forced Strategy Gaming. A lot has happened since the last Purgatory episode, so we're going to try to cover everything that has taken place. First and foremost, we're going to be taking a look at the new follower system in Diablo 3. We're also going to be talking about Diablo 3 traits, the varying effects of gems, and the upcoming beta. So just go ahead and jump right into the first topic, the recently announced follower system. Unless you've been living under a rock, you are now aware that a follower system has been added to Diablo 3. There is an in-depth video going into further discussion about how the follower system is going to work specifically. Essentially what we're looking at though is the followers are meant to be a co-op experience, a assistant or a sidekick if you will, through the normal difficulty of the game. So when you initially start playing the game, they're meant to act as kind of a default partner and friend to play with. This is really to help reinforce the idea that Diablo 3 is going to be a co-op focused game, and adding them into this is really going to be, again, a good reinforcement for that. Something else to note is that the followers are assisting in helping drive the storyline of Diablo 3. A big part of them is going to be revolving around the story and the lore of the game, so that's going to be an additional benefit into having them in your single-player playthrough. Now, it is important to add that these are going to actually not be available at all in co-op or PvP. As soon as a friend of yours joins the game or whenever you're in the PvP arena, you're not going to be able to use followers. So again, to reiterate, they're just going to be used for the single-player portion of the game to assist you through your playthrough and help with the storyline. Now moving on to traits. Now if you don't already know, traits are Diablo 3's version of passive skills. So there's going to be a separation between the active skills, which are just known as skills, and passive skills, which are now known as traits. Things to think of are percent increases in damage, percent increases in effectiveness of items, or your chance to find things such as that. Those are going to be known as traits. Now what we're looking at for traits is we're going to be getting them once every 3 levels up until 60, so it looks like we're going to be getting a total of 20 traits. Bashiok did go into some explanation as to how the traits are meant to work and basically what their whole point is. What he said specifically was we don't want traits passives to be boring. Even the ones that are pretty bland stat increase type passives, we try to make them feel weighty. Trait points are fairly rare, so that lets us make each point feel a lot sexier to spend. Even if they're just standard +% stat increases, they're big +% increases. But there's also a lot of traits that are fairly intricate in what they provide, and to no small degree can be game changers. Either way, they'll be a crucial component in any character builds. I'll give you a quick example of a trait too. A trait here for the wizard is called Prismatic Cloak. It's got 3 ranks total, and the first rank increases the effectiveness of ice armor and storm armor by 100%. So as you can see, if you were to spend all 3 talent points in that, if you were to spend all 3 trait points in that, it'd be 300 total % increase in effectiveness. That is a huge difference, and this is the kind of things, this is the kind of weightness that they're looking to attach to these traits. Now we're going to be moving on to the varying effects of gems. Bashiok was asked last week if there's going to be any difference in a gem's effectiveness depending on what it's placed into, and the answer to that is yes. Depending on if it's put in a helm, a weapon, or any other piece of gear, a gem is going to act differently. So there's going to be different abilities behind the gems depending on where they are placed within your gear. This is something that we've seen in past for RPGs, but they were just reconfirming that this is going to be taking place in Diablo 3. And then lastly, of course, we have got the Diablo 3 beta. Yes, in case you missed it somehow, I don't know how you could have missed it. You would probably have to have been sleeping for the past 2 weeks, or maybe you just don't follow Diablo 3, but the beta is coming up. It's going to be looking to start in the 3rd quarter of this year. That's going to be taking place between July 1st and September 30th. Obviously, as we get closer and as we get a more confirmed date as to when the beta is going to be starting, we will, of course, go ahead and let you know, but just reminding all of those who may have missed it. So there you have it, guys. That pretty much wraps up this episode of Purgatory. As always, we try to keep you up to date on everything that's going on in the Diablo 3 universe. Any major news and updates, we will be letting you know about that here. If you like the content, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And as always, keep watching and keep owning.